Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Mermaid, a Chinese fantasy comedy film from 2016. Now I had the pleasure of seeing this one in a local cinema with a few dozen lively Chinese people. Definitely an enjoyable experience. So here's the story of Mermaid. An estate project involving reclamation of the sea threatens the livelihood of the mermaids who rely on the sea to survive. So they dispatch one of their own to seduce and kill the project manager. So the director here is Stephen Chow, who has also acted in many films in the past. His more popular directorial efforts include Shaolin Soccer from 2001 and Kung Fu Hustle from 2004. But two of my personal favorites from him are From Beijing with Love from 1993 and Journey to the West, Conquering the Demons from 2013. Now, if you're familiar with his work, you will know what to expect from Mermaid. He gives us a charmingly wacky, high-energy film that moves at a brisk pace from start to finish. There are tons of jokes that are consistently peppered at the viewer. Some work better than others, but it helps to keep the viewer engaged throughout. Now, the premise itself also allows for some unorthodox character interaction, which is especially entertaining. I mean, how many comedy movies concern a nutty mermaid who is attempting to seduce and assassinate someone? I always like it when a movie is a little bit different, and this one certainly is. Like some of Chow's other films, there are some rather serious and even violent moments that are introduced, but they work well, despite resulting in some tonal shifts. The reason I feel this way is because this film makes its lead characters likable, so you don't want them to get physically harmed, and that's a positive, obviously, especially if you're shifting tones. Because some films, if they're real fluffy and they try to get serious, it doesn't work. This one, it does work for the most part. Now, the lead actress here is a girl named Yun Lin, who is a newcomer, but she just dominates the proceedings with a very expressionistic performance. And when she shows up for the first time, her makeup's like all messed up, and she's practically screaming her lines, and you're like saying to yourself, wait a second, is this a lead actress? Because they don't introduce her until she's like undercover already, so you're not sure if this is the mermaid lady or not. So acting like that can get extremely annoying, but I have to say that she pretty much nails it. To give a performance like this, that's this energetic and yet still somehow be funny and likable, is quite an accomplishment, so I think she did a good job here. She was good in this. The lead actor, Chow Deng, is also very good. He plays off of Yunlin properly, and they have good chemistry together. And finally, I have to point out the supporting actress here, Kitty Zhang. She could very well be the most beautiful woman on the planet right now. My goodness. The first time I remember seeing her was in a very funny romantic comedy entitled All About Women from 2008, and I really liked her performance in that one. She's just as good in Mermaid. At one point during the latter half of this film, she gets quite serious, and she's entirely convincing in her role here. I would never want this woman getting angry with me. There's something with her facial features and the way she's able to, I guess, exhibit seriousness. It just definitely wins you over. It's not like some movies a character will act serious and it's just not. It just doesn't quite work. This woman can bring the fury. Okay. So with all that said, however, I'm not sure that I would really elevate Mermaid into the same class as the previously mentioned movies from Stephen Chow's filmography. But at the same time, I'm not exactly sure why I feel this way. Maybe it's the environmental theme and the characters, both of which are fairly basic and not particularly nuanced. So in some sense, these qualities limit the overall depth of the film. Also, the special effects are fairly low-grade and cartoonish. There's a lot of mermaid and tentacle stuff going on, which is not particularly convincing from a visual standpoint. However, this flaw is somewhat limited to being kind of just a minor distraction due to the light overall tone. For some reason, I easily forgive lackluster special effects for comedy films. Maybe because the special effects themselves are not, they're not demanded to be entirely realistic, because you're supposed to laugh during a lot of these scenes anyways. As a side note, to be perfectly honest, I think moviegoers place way too much emphasis on special effects nowadays. If the film itself is immersive, lower grade special effects can be perfectly fine, for me personally. For example, Clash of the Titans from 1981 is a great example of this. I love that movie. And I honestly don't care that the special effects don't hold up. It's still great. Regardless, though, I definitely enjoyed Mermaid, and it could very well move up my ratings after a second viewing. I would have to say that if it is playing at a cinema in your area, feel free to check it out. It's a little bit different, and it's definitely a bit on the wacky side, but I enjoyed this. It's not available yet on DVD, but there is a good chance at a wide release, given the popularity of this director. So, as always, we'll see you next time.